Hello everyone and welcome to Season 4, Episode 39 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in Lucha Underground history with match number 12 on our list, which is the last man or machine standing match for the Lucha Underground Championship between the champion Pentagon Dark and the challenger Cage from the August 22nd, 2018 edition of Lucha Underground, also titled Last Man or Machine Standing. So basically, this is a last man standing match with the clever spin on the name, given that, Cage is billed as the Machine, right? As that Terminator kind of character. This was really a return to form of Brian Cage, closer to his initial role when he first came into Lucha Underground in Season 1 and jump-started a feud with Prince Puma. At the end of Season 3, he had lost the Gauntlet of the Gods. We've talked about that gauntlet at length in some of the previous videos this season. And from there, he kind of turned heel and he had proved while he had the gauntlet that he was, too strong-willed and too strong for the gauntlet, the god contained inside of it, to possess his body. And now he was going to use all of that strength and all of that aggression that he had pent up to win the Lucha Underground Championship, the champion that, has evaded him since he initially came into the promotion and tried to win it from Puma. Pentagon had finally won the Lucha Underground Championship at Ultima Lucha Tres. Did it kind of feel a little too late for him? Maybe. But this was the match that I think really kicked Season 4 into gear. It came about halfway through the season, and it led us to an enjoyable ride until, to the end of this series. I talked a little bit before, when Season 4 kind of started, they immediately burned through Aztec Warfare on the first episode, and outside of the three-way to the grave match, which we talked about, kind of early on in our countdown, it kind of was just sputtering along, right? They were burning through all their big signature matches that, weren't nearly as good as they had been in the past. A lot of, memorable characters had left the promotion. Some new ones had been brought in, like Jake Strong, that kind of really weren't working. The aesthetics were different. Dario Cueto was now, Antonio Cueto, his father. And it really was feeling like, the writing was on the wall. And eventually it was, right? Season 4 would be the last season, but this match was excellent, and it really felt like there was maybe a little bit more juice to squeeze out of Lucha Underground, and we would get that for the rest of the season. They did a really cool job hyping this match. They had wrestled for the title previously. It ended in a little bit of a schmoz. They did a really, really good brawl through the crowd to hype this up where, Cage was kind of walking up the steps and Pentagon was disguised in the crowd as a fan and kind of pulled the hood up, and you saw, Pentagon's creepy face in the sea of fans, behind Cage, and they had a great brawl, and that led us to this match. This match is insane. They do some crazy maneuvers in this. In a way, this is maybe going to be a little bit of a weird comparison. It kind of reminds me a bit of like a more amped up Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka match. And, if you watched my ECW countdown for Season 3, you know how much I love that feud. It's my second favorite feud of all time. And they kind of have a bit of a similar dynamic here where Cage is this big, muscular, powerful individual, that can hit all these big, crazy moves. Pentagon is undersized, but, fights back, and he's just, tough as nails. They trade chair shots to the heads. There's a bunch of moves through tables. So maybe not stylistically, the same sort of match, but it kind of gave me a little bit of that same vibe. This match is a wicked roller coaster. It is a last man standing match. Those can be a little bit of a mixed bag, but they do a really good job. All of the big moves they hit, in a regular match, you would kind of expect to be the finish, but, with the extra 7 seconds and, the bit of the delayed dramatic count, we do get a lot of spots that they go through here. And the aggression in this match is great too, right? They built this up as a little bit of a blood feud, and we get that right off the hop. Cage jumps Pentagon on the floor to begin, and so it just starts ripping at the mask immediately. Pentagon finds a beer bottle and smashes Cage over the head with it, which is completely no-sold, and then Cage uses the broken bottle to dig at Pentagon's exposed head, busting him open. So we get that blood, immediately in this match for the great visuals. Cage just goes to town on Pentagon, but Pentagon manages to kind of get like a fluke counter into a Death Valley driver through a table in the corner that Cage had set up earlier. If you're not one for, chair shots to the head and things like that, this match is not for you, because there are plenty. Pentagon hits a brutal chair shot, completely unprotected to the head, hits a double stomp with the chair lying over Cage's body. None of this enough to keep Cage down for 10, of course. Pentagon goes for a kick on the apron, which is one of his signatures, and Cage grabs him off and hits a big running powerbomb into the elevated guardrails in the Lucha Underground Temple. And then proceeds to hit his deadlift superplex that he's known for, but hits it from the inside to the outside through 2 tables on the floor. Crazy spot, not enough to put Pentagon down for 10. Cage goes for a Death Valley driver on the ring apron. Pentagon blocks that with another sick chair shot and hits a DVD of his own off the ring apron through a table. Back in the ring, Cage manages to fight back, really showing, that machine, that Terminator kind of character that he has. He hits the discus lariat, he hits the drill claw, the Steiner screwdriver. In a normal match, that would be it, but of course, last man or machine standing, Pentagon manages to somehow fight back, and as Cage is going up top, probably for his kind of twisting elbow drop thing that he had been doing, Pentagon fights him up top and hits a Canadian Destroyer off the top rope through a table. It is nuts. And the finish for this match, if that is not enough crazy spots that I just ran through, the finish is just, it's so unbelievable, and Pentagon just completely decimates Cage, and it's such a viable, believable finish, given that, it's Lucha Underground, and, this man is this, machine and this monster, and that I buy that it would take all of this to put him away. So after the Destroyer off the top through the table, still not enough to put Cage down, so Pentagon hits a low blow. He hits a package pile driver through 6 chairs that are all set up and facing each other. He wraps a chair around Brian Cage's arm and hits that with another brutal chair shot. He does his signature Pentagon Jr., lean back arm break on both arms. So Cage is completely, both arms are debilitated at this point. And he proceeds to hit a curb stomp through a cinder block. Cinder blocks are something that Cage had put to use many times in Lucha Underground, specifically in his matches with Willie Mack. So it comes back and it bites him as Pentagon finds one, stomps his head through it, and it is enough to keep Cage down for 10, and Pentagon Dark retains the Lucha Underground Championship. This match, at the time, it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Like I said, it was really the shot in the arm that Lucha Underground needed in Season 4, and ultimately led to the rest of the season being quite enjoyable. We had a bunch of Season 4 matches earlier on in our countdown, in between that 40 to 50 range. So much fun, so brutal. I just described all the spots, so you know what you're getting with this one. You're going to know if it's up your alley or not. But if you're into just big move, table-breaking, hardcore wrestling, this is the match for you. Depending on where you live, you might be able to find it on Tubi, as Lucha Underground is available in certain areas. If not, though, you can Google search this episode. You're going to be able to find it streaming somewhere. I promise you that. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.